Hello, everybody. We are back. I'm Eve. We are doing the Braless Entrepreneur podcast today. You can check us out at ditchthebra.com. Why braless? Am I braless right now? Actually, I'm not, sadly, because I just walked the dog a little while ago. But this is for women entrepreneurs who typically work from home in a t-shirt with no bra and sweatpants, like keeping it real and making millions of dollars. So that's what we're all about. Today, I am talking to Anna Goff, who is like a friend of a friend, so I know she's cool. She's also part of TBE Club, the Braless Entrepreneur Club, so I've gotten to see her in action and see her help other people talking about finances. So, Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here too. So, let's get right to it. Anna, you look like an influencer. You're like gorgeous and hot. And every time I see you, I feel like you have makeup on, which I cannot relate to. And it's like the kind of makeup that a person puts on that's just like a little bit because they're already super hot naturally. Tell me about this. Tell me about this way of living. What is that like?
Well, you're sweet. So I actually went to aesthetic school and I used to be a makeup artist. So
Mm.
I in Denver, I lived in Denver for 15 years. I had a business where I did makeup for commercials, print work, weddings. I did eyelash extensions, all of that. So that was like previous world. And then my ex and I moved to Pennsylvania. So I gave that business up, became a full-time stay-at-home mom for several years, and then got back into the workforce after I got divorced. So that is why. And I was always like, I always kind of did my makeup when I went out because that was my brand. So I was like, I can't look like shit when I leave the house if I'm a makeup artist and I'm trying to like teach other people how to do it. So
This makes so much sense. I gotta say, honestly, I feel so much better because, like, you're representing a lifestyle, you're representing a brand. And I feel like that's what I do. I'm like, hey, if you're a person who likes to make a bazillion dollars and look like shit when you go outside too, then you should. You should feel empowered to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, every once in a while, I will put on a tight ass red dress and a little mascara and lip gloss, and I'm crazy hot. I'm lazy and I don't do that much. Okay. So anyway, now we understand why Anna looks like an influencer, which is very impressive and I dig it. All right, Anna. So let's start with this. Well, let me ask, do you ever like at home, do you ever not look put together and do you secretly ever, cuz your monitor's up here, not wear a bra?
no, I
Ever?
don't. No, I mean, I have fake boobs. I guess I could go without.
That's fantastic.
Um,
This is good to
but
know.
right?
Yeah.
Well, they were sad after I had my 2 kids, and I was like, "Either cut them off or fill them up, one of the 2. I
Did
can't
you
handle."
get a boob job?
Yeah.
Do you love it?
I wish I hadn't done it, honestly.
Really?
I like it, right? But then I turned super crunchy, and I'm,
Uh,
like, very health conscious. So then I'm like, "Why did I do that?" But, it is what it is. I
that's
like
like the
it.
thing right now,
I mean,
right? To
that's
get them out? Isn't,
I
like, that
know,
the
but that's
cool
kinda
thing?
scary too, right? Like, they
Yeah.
all have the drains and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I don't know."
But
Um,
don't you have to redo them like, every 15 years?
I think if there's a leak, I don't know.
Oh, I thought you always had to well, everybody in my family has giant boobs, like,
Yeah.
giant boobs, and then same thing after I breastfed, and also I used to weigh 300 pounds. So,
Yeah.
after that, after I lost the weight, they were awful, like,
Yeah.
they were just going south for the winter,
Oh,
like, it was
oh,
bad. So, I had a breast reduction and a breast lift, and they're just
yeah.
amazing.
Isn't
They're
that so
amazing. They're
good?
still giant, but they're amazing.
Yeah,
Um
that's so good. Mine were like 2 sad socks with yogurt in them.
Shit.
Like, just like, and then people are like, "Oh, push them up." I'm like, "No, because it's wrinkly, because there's skin, so much skin." Just terrible. So
Okay.
anyway, now you know way too much about my boobs, but
I love it. We're here to talk about boobs. Like, this conversation and what we do at the Braless Entrepreneur is, like, business and life are not separate. It's
no,
all the same crap. It's all like
it's so
kids
true.
and relationships and love and money and divorce and marathons, which I would never do, but, like, in makeup
Right.
and boobs, like, it's all the
Yeah.
same thing, and I have really never been able to do this whole thing where I'm a person over here personally and a person over
Right.
here in business, which is why I sucked at corporate like 30 years ago, right? Okay,
100%.
let's
Yeah.
hear about you. Where do you live? Do you have kids? What's the story?
Okay. I live in Bluffton, South Carolina, so outside of Hilton Head, kind of between Hilton Head and Savannah. I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 11-year-old son. And, yeah, I'm right now I'm on vacation, so I'm in 30A, and it's funny that you were talking about that. I was thinking this morning as I was on a walk, walking past all of these parents who are, like, on the phone, working, whatever, trying to do both, right? Like, here their kids are on vacation for the summer, and they're like, "We gotta get in a trip, but I also have to work a little bit." And so that's why, when we talked about this date, I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. You just have to make it work." And if you are an entrepreneur, like the flexibility part is so great, but also you got to fit it in. So here we are at the beach doing all the things.
I
So
I know I was looking at your place. I'm like, it's so fancy. And you said it's an Airbnb, right?
it's an Airbnb.
It's a
Yeah.
fancy Airbnb. I love it.
It's really nice. Yeah.
It
It's
is
good.
nice.
Some
Okay.
are great and some are not, but this one's good. Yeah.
All right. So, I'm curious personally, are you in a relationship right now?
I am not.
Okay.
So I'm divorced and I my divorce was final, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. And I was actually in a relationship for a long time. So we started dating while my divorce was like going through the finalization process. It's someone that I have known my entire life,
Yeah.
and we got engaged and we just called it off like a little while ago. So um but it was a great learning experience and like understanding that you can be in love, but sometimes it's not enough. And I think it's really interesting, like, as I've gotten older, and especially with kids and dating after kids, I know that you went through a divorce, and dating with kids is a whole different ball game because it's like I could handle all of the things, but then there were things with the kids that I was like, oh, I don't think this is going to work long term. So,
Okay, couple questions. Did you know I wrote a book on online dating?
no,
Okay. Did you know I did a TED Talk on online dating?
no.
I'm gonna need you to watch these things, and I'm gonna need you to send me your mailing address so I can send it to
Okay.
you. It's a little dirty, but it's totally worth it.
That's okay. I
Um,
can.
so yeah, so when you talk about dating with kids, I'll
Mhm.
tell you, and that's what I did. My daughter was 7,
Yeah.
and I did a lot of dating. It was pretty great. But I only dated 3 people during that time that, like, I really dated,
Yeah.
like, actually got to know and was friends with and dated and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were the only ones that met my daughter. Now, I always found it interesting that I would meet some people, and maybe you feel this way, and if so, I'm curious. They would be like, "Yeah, I've been in this relationship for a year. We've been exclusive for a year, so now I'm gonna introduce them to my kid." And I'm like, "That's crazy." Like,
Yes.
I introduce them typically, like, if they were gonna be around for a while, well, I need to know the kid's not going anywhere. I just need to know if they're going anywhere or not, right? Or am I gonna have them stay or not? So, like, 3 weeks into that, I would introduce my kid to them because
Yeah.
you're
You're
kind
a
of
package
auditioning, another parent, right? Like,
100%. You're a
what are your
package
thoughts
deal.
on this?
I agree. I think you're
Yeah?
a package deal. So, my ex has been dating the same person for like a year and has a business with this woman, and they have not met she hasn't met the kids.
That's weird.
And I'm like, "Uh-uh." And the kids think it's weird. The kids are like, why haven't we met her?
Yeah.
Does he not like her? Like, what's going, we smell her
Sure.
perfume on the seatbelt. We know we see her Netflix login. We know who she is. You know,
We see
they're
your
not
Netflix slide.
babies, right? They're not going to like suddenly get super attached to somebody and then,
Right.
but I'm with you. Like, if you are seeing a future with somebody potentially, like, you need to make sure that that's okay. And I couldn't introduce the guy that I was with until after the divorce was completely final,
That makes
which
sense.
is totally fine, but he had been a friend, like I said, for 35 years. So, we as soon as we could, we introduced him to the kids, and they got along great, but there were some things where, like, he didn't have kids, never had kids, and so, like, the parenting style just didn't like, what he thought should
Sure.
be, wasn't what I thought, and then he was asking to be a part of certain decision making, like, very soon about, like, school and stuff, and I was like, "No, like, that's between, me and their dad."
Yeah.
So, it was just really interesting to see their perspective on things, and that wouldn't have been the case. Like, I wouldn't have known that if
Yeah.
they hadn't met.
One thing I also hear from women who get divorced or out of a long-term relationship
Mhm.
is they're like, "Yes, I'm dating. Um, I wanna date everybody or I wanna get married again or whatever." And they're
Yeah,
like, "But I'm not telling my kid because
yeah,
I don't want them to think they're not number 1." I
yeah.
also that really freaks me out
Mhm.
because you're saying if you get divorced as a woman, you're not looking for physical affection. You're not looking to live your life. You're not looking for another relationship, whatever it is you're looking for, which I think can lead a kid to believe that if a marriage fails or if a relationship fails, that's it, right? Their
Mhm.
life is on hold just for you. And that can teach a kid to have the same behaviors when they grow up and not prioritize their need for a relationship if that's what they want. Look, dude, if they're happy being single, like I'm
Yeah,
all for it. Like go for it. But like whatever it is you're choosing to do, I think the kid needs to see it. Needs to see you embracing whatever it is you have chosen for your life and what you are trying to go for. What are your thoughts?
yeah. I agree, and I think it's also empowering to know that you can go through something hard, right? Like, divorce is one thing, but we go through so many things that are difficult in our lives, if a loss of a job, a loss of a parent or a friend or, death,
Right.
like, all of those things. So if you aren't willing to show resilience and show like, okay, I can get through a hard situation and I'm still a person and I still have needs and I still have independence, right? I think something that a lot of parents do is they pour so much into their kids that they are like a shell of a person when the kid has their own life. And so if you're demonstrating that that's how you should be, then they're learning that. And then the second that they glom onto a man or have a child or whatever, like then they give up their identity. So I think it's important to model that for your kids. Like, yes, I am your mother. I'm your number one fan. I will be here for you and all of that. But I also have my own life that will continue on after you leave my house and you become a grown up. And I need to protect myself and my well being and what I need and, my future relationship and my future, what I want to do in retirement. I know for my mom, she worked. So my dad died when I was 3 and, my brother died when I was 19, and so my mom just worked and worked and worked, and, so she had a husband, but he wasn't really, like, her soulmate or anything like that, and then they split up. My mom just worked so hard and didn't ever put in any effort into relationships, like friendships or, I mean, she was with my stepdad for 35 years before they split up, but, now she's 70 and she's lonely, She doesn't have a support system. She doesn't have hobbies and, doesn't have that kind of thing. So I look at that and think like it's so important to pour into yourself too and give yourself what you need.
I agree. All right, Anna, what I want you to do now is tell people what you teach other women. So you are a growing woman entrepreneur, your business is scaling.
Mhm.
What do people come to you for?
So during my divorce, I really uncovered a lot of things that misconceptions that I had about how it would work, about how the legal system would work, about my rights as a stay-at-home mom of 15 years. I was married for 17 years. Um, how all of those things would play out, and that really, opened my eyes that, number 1, attorneys are not always looking out for your best interest, or they don't understand, like, the scope sometimes.
Like you
Um
mean the attorney working for you was not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. Um, Lots of, like, financial stuff that started to that started to unravel. Things that I thought were our marital assets ended up being deemed non-marital. I was scared to go to court, so I didn't. We've settled in mediation. All of these things that I just didn't know. I thought, "Oh, they're looking out for my best interest. This is just what happens." And then later, I found out that that wasn't the case. So I started educating stay-at-home moms, especially about how they need to protect themselves financially, what they needed to do in order to do that. So, having some financial autonomy, making sure they know what the picture looks like, making sure their name is on all the assets, that they have their own credit, that they continue to build their own credit, that they stay active in some sort of networking or educational expansion. If they want to get a certification, keeping those things up, getting on LinkedIn and just staying connected with the people you used to work with. Little things like that that you can do to stay involved so that if anything ever happens, divorce is one thing, but death of a spouse or financial, maybe they lose their job and you have to
Or
go
they
back to
become disabled, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And so as a stay-at-home mom, just realizing how vulnerable I was for all of those years and helping other women figure that out. So I get a lot of women that come to me and they're going through the divorce process and they need to know, like, what questions should I ask when I'm hiring an attorney? Should I hire a forensic accountant? Should I how should I go about rebuilding my financial future, about rebuilding my life? What assets should I ask for? If I get his 401k, what do I do with that money? How do I start a business to support myself going forward as a former stay-at-home mom who now has to go back to work. So I coach women through lots of life transitions, but also just really big on education for stay-at-home moms, how to have conversations with their spouse about money, about being a part of the financial situation. I have uncovered that a lot of women are financially abused and financially controlled, especially when they become stay at home moms. And I think that that's a couple of reasons. I don't necessarily think it's nefarious. I think for a lot of men, it's just a very scary place to be the sole provider for their family. And so control starts to creep in and they feel like they have to, manage everything or it'll fall apart. So just kind of a long answer to
No,
your
I love it, and it's not like I've always been the person making in my past marriage, making the money, right? Now I have a partner and we grow businesses together and I have an equal, which is incredible.
yeah.
And a badass dad, I'll just throw out there. But I've never thought about being a stay-at-home mom. I'll tell you this, I see stay-at-home moms and I'm like, that looks awful. Like that looks so hard. And oh my god, like, I remember when my kid was little or whatever, because I was a very hands-on mom, and I would be growing companies in my house because I didn't have any money to get an office, and she'd be running around, like, with employees there naked at 2 years old, and I'm like, "Oh my," and pooping with the door open, and I'm like, "Oh my
Right.
god, this is just amazing." And I I would have when she'd go to bed and I'd be working, and I'm like, this is so easy. Like, working is so relaxing. It's so lovely, right? And I just look at stay-at-home moms and I'm like, "How? Aren't you freaking tired? Like, aren't you tired?" And I just, that's why whenever I would hire someone, they're telling me this stay-at-home mom, I'm like, "Pfft, she's gonna think this job is easy as hell. She's gonna think I'm like the best employer ever." Um, but I haven't thought a lot. I've heard a lot of couples, they just let the man handle the money and the woman's not involved and something happens and he dies and she's like, what is going on? And there might be all kind of debt or her name might not be on things. But I really had not thought of it as a stay-at-home mom. And I feel like you're the only person I've ever heard kind of championing that. And I don't know. I hear so many coaches and specialists that choose a specialty, which you have done, but typically I don't see them doing what you're doing, like giving tactical and strategic things that they can actually do. It's more of just like an idea. Like, you should
Yeah.
really take care of this instead of like, how do you do this? Because
Yeah.
if you're overwhelmed by it and you've never dipped your toe in money before or whatever topic it is, it's scary. And you just need people to like not talk down to you, make it simple, tell you exactly what to do, save you time. So to me, like from what I've heard, like that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I think sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, and we haven't thought about it, and a lot of I think there's a protection mechanism too of not letting yourself go down, this dark path of thinking about what could happen, but
Right.
even something so little or big as if your partner dies or you get a divorce and you don't have enough life insurance, so you still have to have a mortgage on your house.
Right.
How are you gonna get a mortgage?
Damn.
You don't have any job history. You you know, all of a sudden he's dead. You're looking at, okay, we have $500,000 in life insurance. We have to either pay off our house and then we have no money, or I have to get a mortgage. Well, who's going to co-sign on your loan? You know? And then do
Never
you
thought.
have loans on your cars? Do
Yeah.
you have kids that go to private school? Do you have so you have to have like a lot, right? And
Right.
then I was looking at it going, well, shit, my ex used to make over $1 million a year,
Oh my God.
but we didn't have like millions and millions of dollars in the bank, you
Right.
know? We were still growing, right? So I had to get a mortgage on my house, and that was important to me to try to keep the kids in the house. And I had to get my mom had to co-sign on my mortgage
Oh,
because I didn't have job history.
oh my God. Did that kill you?
Yes.
Ugh, that'll
I'm
just
like, "Are
knock your
you
ego
kidding?"
down, right? At a
Right,
time that you're getting divorced, which already knocks your ego down.
right, right. But thankfully, she had the income to do it, and she could, but a lot of people are not in that situation. And so then I see the mom oftentimes has to go live in an apartment. Well, apartments are $3,000 a month, and a lot of them make you earn 3 times the monthly rent. So, I just am trying to tell women, like, if you wanna stay home, awesome, but you need to understand that this is not a gift that you're giving your husband. You are gifting this to your family, and he needs to make sure that you are protected before you step out of the workforce.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna wrap up soon, so I have a couple questions.
Alright, awesome.
When you meet with these women, it sounds like you're doing like preemptive work. You're mostly working with women who are currently stay-at-home moms, and you're like, let's set up your protection, let's set you in a good position. What are
Yeah.
the first two things you tell them to do?
So, I tell them they need to make sure that they know exactly what their financial picture is. You need to sit down with your partner, go through everything because a lot of guys don't have any more education on this than the women do, right? So you need to have a purview into all of it. You also need to make sure you have all of the passwords and know things like who's your mortgage with because a lot of people don't even know that, right? So how to access it, passwords, know what you have. Then the other thing is make sure you have things in your own name that they can't take away. So I hear a lot of women that say, I'm a signer on the credit card, but when he gets mad, he shuts it off. So she has no way to do anything if they're in a fight. Well, the second that, say he
Does that
cheats on her,
really happen?
100% happens all
Wait,
the
wait,
time.
like they have an argument
Mhm.
and he
Yeah,
turns the credit card
yeah,
off until they make up and then he turns the
yeah,
credit card on?
yeah.
Like a parent?
Obviously, financial abuse. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Really didn't know that
yeah,
happened.
yeah. I
Okay,
know.
sorry, please continue.
Yeah. So if you think about it, right, say something happens and she needs to leave. She has no money. If she has no access to cash and she only has this credit card she's a signer on, he can shut that off and then she has to stay or he has control. So make sure you have things in your own name that he can't take away. And I know that sounds crazy and a lot of people are like, "Well, if we're in a partnership, why would we do this?" Like cover your ass cuz it's the second something happens, it's a money grab and it only takes one person to get divorced Takes
Yep.
2 people to get married, but 1 person to get divorced.
Yeah.
So,
And you
if
just don't
you're
know because I was
you
married
don't
for 12 years. You were
yeah,
married for 17. Some of your mom was married for 35 years. Like, you don't freaking know what's going to happen. Okay. So let's say I'm a stay at home mom
yeah,
and I just heard this and I have never thought about this before and I would like to take some action.
yeah,
How can people work with you like immediately? How can they
yeah.
find you?
So, you can find me the easiest way is probably on Instagram. So, my Instagram is Ms. MS Anna Goff, Goff, and you can send me a DM. There's a link to book a one-on-one call. I love to do a deep dive call with somebody first, just figure out where they're at. If we can solve it in one setting, that's great. For a lot of women that are in this position, though, they're like, "Ugh, I can't really afford to work with you for, the 6 weeks where I do the 6 weeks one-on-one coaching or even the deep dive call, like, I can only spend, like, under $100 that can fly under the radar because I don't want my husband to think that I'm, like, planning for a divorce or whatever." I hear that
Right.
a lot. So I'm actually starting a membership where women can dive in and we will touch on all of the things that you need to know, not only about how to protect yourself if you're a stay at home mom, but even if you're a working mom, if you're a woman, just learning about finances, diving a little bit deeper, making sure that you are protected for your future, that you do have financial autonomy, and that you know what your picture looks like, what your financial picture looks like, so that you can stand on your own 2 feet, whether you have a partner or not. And so I think that's a great option too for women to just dive in. It's lower cost. You can really learn from other people and then have a community of other women who can build you up and share ideas and talk about their experiences too.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do people find that? Do they go to your Instagram?
They go to my Instagram.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
All
Y'all,
of the
I've been
things.
following Anna's Instagram and it just like I just started mine. I mean, I have a personal one with like, I don't know, 4 or 5,000 people that I post on like when I remember it exists. Um, and then I just started mine for the braless entrepreneur, like just. And like I look at Anna's and I'm like, oh my God, like this is so good. She has like over 10,000, right? Don't you have like over 10,000 people?
13,
You
the
post all the time
13,200,
and you
something like
look
that.
fabulous and you say such useful information. So, if you do one thing today, y'all, if you like money and you like keeping some of it, right? And you're either in a relationship or at some point in your life you may be in a relationship, then go follow her. So it's Miss Anna Goff,
Yeah.
Goff. All right,
Yeah.
Anna, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks, Eve. It was
Thanks for
great to
being
be
on the
here today.
show. You
Thanks
too.
a lot.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Eve. This is the Braless Entrepreneur Podcast, and you can check all the episodes out at ditchthebra.com.